At the outset, I would like to thank Professor Vishali ma'am, Dr. Chintan, and the executive of course for giving me this opportunity. And thank you, Simar, for the illustrative case here. So I will be just briefly summarizing the common causes of inflammation following cataract surgery and what all we need to keep in mind. So these are some of the cases some of the causes that I have enumerated, and these can include bacterial endotoxins. Sometimes there can be irrigating solutions which are used, which have a bioincompatible pH. Medicines which are used with preservatives, and especially if they are injected intracamerally. And of them, the most notorious ones include benzalkonium chloride or bisulfite stabilizers. So whenever you are injecting anything intracamerally, you should make sure that it is PFBF, that is, it is preservative free and bisulfite free, and especially that applies to epinephrine. And then denatured ophthalmic viscosurgical devices which are left on the instruments if they have not been cleaned after the surgery. And then the use of petroleum-based ophthalmic ointments after doing a clear corneal phacoemulsification. Intraocular antibiotics and at toxic doses, and vancomycin has been notorious for causing such an inflammatory reaction. And as we saw in this case, which Simar highlighted, that the recurrence of a coexisting pathology such as uveitis should also be kept in mind. So before taking up any patient for cataract surgery, it is important that we do a meticulous slit lamp examination, including documentation of any anterior chamber cells and flare. So you should be sure before taking up any patient for cataract surgery that there is no coexisting uveitis. The uveitis has been quiescent for at least 3 months, if not more. And sometimes you may need to start perioperative steroids in such situations. Next slide, please. Then you have to remember that there can be intraocular lens related complications which generally have a delayed manifestation. IOLs which have been implanted in the sulcus, they may have the haptics rubbing on the posterior surface of the iris, causing kind of a recurrent uveitis, glaucoma, hyphema syndromes, and especially if you have implanted a single piece IOL in the sulcus, that has a higher propensity. So you should never implant a single piece intraocular lens in the sulcus. Then sometimes retained lens fragments that have been retained during the cataract surgery. Sometimes they are obvious because you have a dropped nuclear matter in the vitreous cavity. You know that there has been a PC rent, vitreous loss, and a complicated cataract surgery. However, there may be situations where it is a small fragment that probably has been you have overlooked it, and there is persistent inflammation following cataract surgery. So sometimes you may need to do a gonioscopy and or a UBM to look for whether or not there have been any retained lens fragments in the angle or behind the iris in the ciliary body region. And then any vitreous incarceration in the wound will predispose to increased inflammation following cataract surgery. Next slide, please. So, as some steps that can be taken to prevent this, apart from a meticulous preoperative examination of the anterior segment and posterior segment, includes intraoperative steps such as proper cleaning and flushing of the phaco and IA tips and handpieces and other instruments after surgery, use of disposable cannulas rather than the reusable ones, use of lint-free cloth to keep your instruments, and strictly following manufacturer's instructions for equipment maintenance, including the autoclaves. Next slide, please. So key take-home messages are that although clinical clues are there to point towards an infectious versus a non-infectious process, remember that there can be overlaps in clinical presentation. As Simar has mentioned, that you can have an endophthalmitis presenting within 48 hours, and there can be a non-infectious inflammation that can present later. So whenever in doubt, we should always err on the side of infection. And it is very, very important that we are consistent and diligent in all our post-operative follow-ups. And we should always examine our post-operative patients at least once in 24 hours, 72 hours, and 7 days, if not more. Next slide, please. And then, if an outbreak is suspected, all efforts must be made to recall and re examine the patients operated on the same day. And tracing the origin of the outbreak, while it appears daunting, is essential. So, you may have to just stop the OT before you find out what has been the cause of this increase of an outbreak. And then you need to investigate the materials used, instrument cleaning procedures that are used, instrument and machine maintenance records need to be investigated to trace the origin of the outbreak. Next slide, please. So to conclude, that whenever there is a doubt, clinically, we should err on the side of endophthalmitis and manage as such. All comprehensive ophthalmologists should learn to give a basic intravitreal injections, because that is not so difficult, and it may help in kind of stabilizing the patient, preventing worsening by the time he reaches a VR setup. And then uh, you should, whenever in doubt, again, keep your VR friends happy and refer early. Thank you.